Day 14, Mexico against Sweden. In Russia's fourth biggest city, in temperatures of 30 degrees, Mexico faced off with Sweden for the second time in history. Their first was in 1958. In a group that had still many permutations, in which all four countries could still qualify, in full Mexico could still amazingly let go out. It would be only the third time in history that a side that had won 2 games of their opening games would go out were they to fail today. Mexico, there were no changes, possibly for the first time ever, from coach Osorio. And Mexico were hoping that for the first time ever they'd be able to win 3 consecutive games at the World Cup. They had been in terrific form. Mexico had appeared in 16 World Cups. Only 4 sides had appeared in more World Cups finals, like tournaments. Sweden were looking to bounce back from their final last gasp defeat against the Germans. They too were unchanged. They had reached the last 3 appearances of the finals had resulted in appearances to the second round at least in 94 and 2002 and 2006. They were not pleasing on the eye, but they were very tough to beat, as France, Holland and Italy all found out in the qualifiers. Like to the game, I mean, Sweden were appearing in their 11th World Cup finals. Anyway, to the game, Sweden, in need of the win, were on the front foot. Mexico's Gallardo was to be in receipt of the fastest yellow card in history, 15 seconds. Sweden, like playing a good tempo, implementing their style, were troubling the Mexicans with set pieces. Forsberg with a whipped in free kick, and then Berg from the corner, an attempt back to goal, a bicycle kick back to goal, going just wide. But Mexico countered on the break after Sweden gave the ball away. Vela cutting in with his effort narrowly curled around the post. The game was very much end to end now, lively, with both looking that they wanted to win the contest. The set pieces continued to trouble Mexico. Ochoa forced into a superb save from Berg's close range point blank header. Forsberg earlier, with a clear shot on goal, had shot wastefully over. At the other end, it was a set. At the other end, it was just a sea of yellow jerseys, as Mexico attackers were totally being nullified, denied the ability to counter-attack. Sweden working to the game plan and working to their strengths. Vela, after cutting in, would be far less accurate than his earlier attempt. As Hernandez survived the award of a penalty with the referee consulting VARs, it looked very, very suspicious, and he was very fortunate that the award didn't go against him. With Germany still drawing with South Korea, a very poor contest by all accounts, they and Mexico were currently in pole position, as Sweden needed to find a goal that would change the course of events. But then in the second half, the group was to take an incredible turn, as the equation took an unexpected twist, totally unenvisaged. Sweden to rock Mexico that would leave their status lingering on the thread. Augustinsson, the left back, close in, driving in an effort, miscued by Klaassen low into the corner. As Germany were out of the tournament, out of the top two positions, as Sweden headed the group, the fans were ecstatic. Mexico were being overrun as Augustinsson, cutting in, looked for a second, narrowly curling his effort over the bar with his weaker foot. Forsberg was more woeful with his own, like earlier. A goal for Germany would send Mexico home. It got much worse for Mexico as Moreno, diving in, was adjudged to have brought down Berg. A penalty, the award. Gronqvist buried the effort high into the corner, top left-hand corner. It was his second penalty of the tournament and an eighth international goal. Energyless nervous, Mexico looked dead on their feet. There was no sign of a goal. Despite with 25 minutes to save it, they were unable to deal with the threat physically. I mean, they were unable to deal with Sweden physically and with the aerial threat posed by the Europeans. Mexico looked in total control as Mexico's position looked precariously unretrievable. Despite losing Larsen stretchered off and Berg concussed by like an elbow to the head, it was only looking to go one way. Then, to compound things, an own goal. An own goal compounded Mexico's day. Alvarez was kicking his clearance, which bounced off his leg and gave Sweden a 3-goal advantage. So, with this game clearly out of their reach, the hopes lay in the hands of Korea, denying Germany a victory. Shell-shocked Mexican fans seem more interested now in keeping tabs with the Korea-Germany game. They were looking on their phones and tablets to see if they would somehow find a way to remain in this tournament. A drive from Fabian was all that Mexico had to muster, was all that Mexico could muster, as the game was clearly out of their reach. Carlos Vela, virtually on the line, was unable to direct a simple effort on goal, the effort flying wide of the far post. Mexico could only become the third team, as mentioned, ever to be eliminated after winning their opening 2 games. They'd only lost 2 games, group games, in 19 World Cup games. 4 minutes of stoppage time went up with Mexico living on a thread. But then a massive uproar in the stands signalled good news for Mexico. Fantastic drama as the decision went to VARs. The celebrations started as a Korean goal from Kim seemed to give Mexico a lifeline. It was confirmed, and Mexico fans were ecstatic in the stands. Mexican players were in tears, some not sure of their fate. There were tears of relief. Sweden celebrated as they headed the group against all odds. Then a second goal for Korea signalled Germany's demise and departure from the group stage for the first time since 1938. And they hadn't qualified. First time they wouldn't qualify for the quarterfinals. At least Son Heung-min digging the final nail in the German coffin. So Sweden and Mexico proceeded from this group, and Korea saved some face, and Germany went home in total disgrace. For my own opinions, I think, Mexico just totally failed to do their homework, whereas Sweden certainly had and knew exactly where to hurt the Mexicans, and they would now face Mexico would now face Brazil, who they traditionally had done well against. Sweden had the less daunting task of facing Switzerland, who they were well capable of defeating. It would be interesting.